always been fascinated in Jewish history and culture, most particularly the Passover. There's a lot of symbolism and reasons why they do the things that they do for the Passover. There's so much history involved in the food that they eat, so I want to take a minute to explain that a little bit quickly. I'm not going to go into much depth, but I'm going to give you the basics. The Passover history starts in the time of Moses. He's a famous Jewish leader that led the Egyptians out of Egypt. So Moses went to the king and asked him to free the Jewish people. The king said no. So he tried 10 times, and as the king said no the 10th time, he told the king that the oldest son would die, and that all the other people would also have their oldest sons die. The firstborn son would die for every single group of people. So then Moses went to the Jewish people and told them that the Egyptians, that their firstborn would die, and that the only way to prevent that death for their family was to place blood around their door frames. That would protect them. And as that happened, those who would place the blood upon their door, their families, or their oldest son would be saved, but the others would not. It's called the Passover because the destroying angel would pass by and not kill their oldest son. So then those Jewish people left, packed all their things and left in a hurry. They didn't have time to bring all this bread with them, and as they entered into the wilderness, they had no food to eat. They tried to make flatbread by the sun, and that's what they were able to eat until the time of the Passover feast, and things changed a bit. At 8 o'clock, there's a celebration, or 8-day celebration. The first day they eat many different items in symbolism of some things that had happened. So they didn't have much to prepare this meal with, because as they had left so quickly, their items were few. So they would make what they could. They had a plate set up, and there were five items on them. The first thing was a cracker. They each given 3 crackers, which is really a form of it, but there's no leavening in it. So it's flatbread. So they break one of the flatbreads. I forgot the name of the other one, but and then they have this mixture of apples, wine, and nuts. It's kind of like a dip thingy. It resembles the mortar as the Jews were building walls and stacking bricks. And that helps them remember the work that they had done when they were in Egypt. And then there's parsley. It represents spring and a new life. Now, parsley, you have to dip the parsley in salt water. And it resembles tears as they worked hard. The tears that they had shed as they were in captivity. And then they had a bone of an animal that they put on their plate to remind them of the sacrifice of the lamb and those rituals that they had performed before. And then they have horseradish. It's a very bitter herb. And that represents the suffering of the Jews as they were in captivity in Egypt. And then they drink wine. So all of these different things help them remember the bondage that they were in before they were freed. And the cup of wine is to remind them that their door must always be open for Elijah. They set up another plate for him so that he can join their feast.